Here we are at another episode of Varsity House Podcast with your host, Shaun Crawford. And today we bringing on my big bro from Notre Dame, from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Jaylon Smith, Smoove.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's a pleasure to have you today, bro.
Conversation, man. Let's do it.
I appreciate you coming on, but I mean, just talk about right now. Where you at right now?
Oh man, doing well. I'm in Dallas, Texas right now, where I reside. I'm back and forth between Dallas and then my hometown in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Forever from the Hoosier State, so I love being able to go home and see family, train, and also I have a health and wellness center that I run out there called iCryo. So just tuning into my general manager, my employees, and just making sure that we're really operating under the right microscope with the same core values. I'm doing well, man. I'm training. I'm in the best shape of my life. Locked in. Talk about being an athlete, entrepreneur. There's multiple hats you got to wear, and it's great for me to have a fantastic team that helps me operate and run everything to where I can keep the main thing when I need to. So I'm just enlightened, bro. Good to talk to you as well.
Yeah. So before we get to the football stuff, you mentioned you got iCryo and then working with your team on the business side. Talk about getting into that a little bit, just because I feel like a lot of players, while they're still playing, don't get into that stuff. But it seems like you were pretty into it early. So just talk about that and just maybe how you had some mentors in your life that maybe influenced you to use the resources that you have and use the name and image that you have right now.
Though honestly, I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was 11 years old. Then when I was 7 years old, when I started playing football, that's when I knew that I had a dream to play in the NFL, and just kind of envisioned that coming true. So with both of these things, I was able to understand the value of a relationship. And how to maximize your brand, your platform to, being able to leverage it the right way. I learned that at an early age, and just being a very observant guy. I learned that from my mom. I'm a mama's boy, so hence why I stayed close to home. Going to Notre Dame, I didn't want to be too far. But being in the business world and industry, it's a whole different terminology. It's a whole different language. It has a lot of the same principles of being an athlete, leadership, accountability, just being a man of your word, all of that good stuff. And it takes time. For me, having a redshirt year, my rookie year, after, tearing my ACL, LCL, peroneal nerve damage, in my final collegiate game at Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, I had a lot more time on my hands. And how I allocated it was, I would go to work. I would do my rehab. I would watch film with all the guys. I would watch the games with all the guys. And then after my afternoon, rehab session, I would go home. After meetings, and I would dive right into business. A lot of it was learning, and at first, and just putting myself in those uncomfortable situations. From a guy from the south side town of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I didn't know anything about, what an ROI meant, or how to read a financial dashboard, or to be able to really sit in board meetings and add substantial value, because I didn't know what I didn't know. But for me, it was about I've always been a sponge, soaking everything in. And that's really what helped me learn to where I can, I can really operate in that business space now, being an active investor in private equity, real estate, venture capital, sitting on a board seat, having, some LP investments, being a general partner in a couple firms, and all of this good stuff that I've been exposed to, just maximizing not only my Dallas Cowboys network, but my Notre Dame network, and just access to quality people that's been in my life. I've had a couple mentors that I to this day I continue to seek. We all need help. We can't do it alone. We don't know this information on our own. But the fact that I have a business management team that, or a family office that helps me run my entire enterprise, I'm able to focus on being an employee and locking in. And a lot of the success I've had is because of that, and that comfortability of having governance, people helping me with my enterprise, knowing exactly where every dollar is going, and to the point where I'm not doing everything on my own and then having to worry about playing. It's important to have experts on your team. So big shout out to Mike Lito and Rise Sports Advisors, for helping make everything calm for me to be able to lock in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like you probably one of the lucky ones who found that early, to where a lot of people, I mean, you search for people that you can trust. You search for people that have your best interests. And so for you being able to find that early, and then kind of, you talk about that red shirt year, to where it's like you find out that there's more to football. And so I had to find out early in my college career, pretty similar to what you had to do early in your NFL career. And so it was just like, go to Notre Dame and you're surrounded by a bunch of successful people who are willing to help you, and you begin to reach out, you begin to network and start learning a lot more than what you honestly probably came there for. It was like you went to Dallas to be a football player, to be the best linebacker, to where it's like now you're in a situation to where you're with one of the best fan bases, one of the best organizations, to where it's like now they can help you off the field. But get into where you are now on the field. What's your current situation like as far as just teams and where you're at right now?
The biggest thing is finding the right team with the right opportunity. There's a few teams that are interested right now, and for me, I'm just thankful. The position I'm in right now, I'm just being patient and controlling what I can control.
Now, in that position, you get to control like where you pick, where you want to go, and like I guess when you want to go.
Yeah, being a vet, I'm in year 7 now. Training camp's under the way, so it should be the next couple weeks where I find out where I'm going to go. But me being a plug and play starter, in this league, it's critical to go to the right team. So for me, I'm just, and like I said, I work with experts, so I'm allowing my agent to do his work, and I'm focusing on making sure that I'm ready, which I am, and that's my biggest focus on that. Making sure that my mental space is correct and right. The biggest thing is being locked in and focused. But you also want to be able to look in the mirror and understand, like, okay, how can I attack each situation, even where I'm at right now, making sure that I'm being productive and keeping myself busy on active things that I have going on while continuing to take care of my body. So that's really my focus, my everyday routine. I'm not in camp right now, but my routine is like I'm in camp. So you cutting into my nap time a little bit, but it's all good.
I was going to ask you, like, this is your first time, probably since Little League, that you weren't playing on the team and like come early August. You know what I mean? So how has that been different for you? To where I know you're still training and I know you're still prepping to stay ready, but how has it been different to where, like you said, looking in the mirror, to where it's like, all right, I'm not on a team, and it's kind of like self-reflecting. What have you learned about yourself, and what are you going to do moving forward to just continue to progress?
A lot of it is it's humbling experience. A lot of it is okay, making sure battling my anxiety the right way, really attacking my mental health. Because it's different. Anytime we experience different things, that transition is different. Even with, me being a serial entrepreneur, while I'm still current and active, you got that itch to play. You know what I'm saying? Even if you look at yourself, you still got that itch. Okay, I know I still got it.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, facts. Even for me, this is the first time, like, since Little League.
So just that,
I'm not in the camp,
spirit of just understanding that, like, okay, I can still play this game at a high level. I know I'm still one of the best linebackers in this league. Like, but it's about opportunity. And that's really where I'm at. So I'm just attacking everything head on. Every feeling, every emotion, the reality. The biggest thing for me is operating in truth. And that's where I'm at in my life, for real.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back like a year from now to where you're on the Cowboys, got Hard Knocks in the building, things like that. Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons. What was it like being a mentor for a talent like that?
Man, before Mike even got drafted, like maybe a year before, he became my little brother. And just understanding his greatness, his potential, his love for the game. We both have serious loves for the game of football, and have competed on a high level since we were yay high. So him being able to watch my Notre Dame career and see all the, all the accolades, all the success, of being the best. That's really what kind of motivated us and guided us to create a relationship. When he got drafted, I was like, yes, like I got another dog next to me, and we're gonna go get it. I knew it was gonna be my last year of my contract. It was my last year of my guaranteed money and things like that. So just the biggest transition in the league is understanding the business side of it as well. With Micah dropping to the Cowboys not being able to get who they wanted, Mike was there, and they got him. And for me, it was like, man, I got a little brother next to me who I know is another dog. We're gonna be able to add some great things and great values to this team. Myself on the production side of what I've done every year I was there. Increasing my tackles. Like the year prior, I was second in the league in tackles, over 154 tackles. And just being a key staple of the defense, the leader of the defense. And then Micah coming in with his generational skills, generational talent, love for the game, right, natural knack for the ball. I knew that he was going to add like incredible value to our defense. So for me, that was really my mindset. I finally got number 9 back. They changed the rules last year. Everything was like, okay, we really got a real shot. If you looked at our team and our leadership and our chemistry and our character, everything that we had built, with Mike McCarthy and him bringing his team in, having our heads on good shoulders. Dan Quinn is amazing to this day. He's one of their greatest assets. I love him as a person, as a human. So that was really my mentality going into last year. Was like, okay, we really got a real shot. Cowboys ain't won since 95, 96. This one of them real chances, and
yeah, I feel like with the Cowboys all the time, especially playing Madden, like they always got a squad. Yeah. Like if I'm gonna play Madden, I'm gonna use Cowboys. They got the running back, 2 running backs. They got the quarterback. The receivers was crazy. And I
like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, if you look at Madden, like, they're amazing, but it's like every year it's just like y'all don't end up getting to that final goal. Now obviously a lot of things go into the season to where it could be injuries, it could be one moment into the season. Like last year it could have been like that whole miscommunication on spiking the ball and things like that. But what do you think was something that kind of prevented y'all from getting over that hurdle in the playoffs and throughout the season?
A little combination of everything. And one thing you also got to have in this league is luck. So if you look over for the Cowboys, you kind of been on the bad side of the luck some of those times as well. If you talk about Dez, how Dez caught it and all of that. So a lot of that plays a key factor into it as well. But it comes down to execution, man. It's 4 or 5 plays in every game that determine the win or the loss, because the talent level is similar in the league, man. Everybody is legit. You got to come with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, the biggest thing that a lot of guys, you know, like myself, who are in the trenches a lot and, you know, very aesthetic, got swag, you kind of take the notion of like Marshawn Lynch beast mode, his whole notion of like, you know, everybody gonna get got, but I'm gonna get mine more than I'm gonna get got, though. You know what I'm saying? So that's really just the mentality you gotta have. But in the playoffs is such a special thing. I experienced it twice, but once actually playing in it, and it's a whole different game. It's a whole different season, adrenaline rush, everything. So I would have definitely loved to have been out there with my guys, man. But they're my brothers. I love them still to this day. We chop it up. Mm-hmm. You know, once you're a Cowboy, you're a Cowboy. So for me, I'm thankful and blessed that Jerry even took a chance on me, and he got his return on his investment. So I'm locked in and I'm focused on the next opportunity.
I want to go back to just that one thing you mentioned about being tight with Micah before he even got drafted. Now, Micah, it was a COVID year, I think, and he ended up sitting out. What were those some of the things? Did you guys discuss that, like as being close to each other? Did you discuss that to where it was like, your last year you ended up getting hurt and you kind of fell in the draft, things like that, to where him coming out that year, he was going to be a first round pick, probably no matter what. And so did y'all two ever talk about like maybe sitting out or just taking care of your body and then being prepared for the next level?
Our biggest conversations was about preparation for the next level. You know, he had already had his decision made up for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly what the reason was, but as far as like players sitting out and all and things like that, it's kind of like the Jaylon Smith rule. I kind of made it okay for everybody to sit out in ball games and stuff now. You know, for me, I wouldn't have changed. I wouldn't have changed my decision because it's just the person I am, the player I am, the leader that I am. I wanted to go out the right way. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. It was about 15 projected first rounders on that field, and you know, being the captain of the team. Right. You know, I was going to go to battle if I could. That's just the human I am. You know, as far as capital and cash flow and making dollars and all of that good stuff, I'm a businessman, so I'll make that. That's you know, just a tribute to my team and just my true desire to be a serial entrepreneur. What I value the most is you know, leadership, chemistry, love, and truth.
Yeah, you talk about the Jaylon Smith rule, to where, I mean, obviously it's a big thing now, even still, just because you got players sitting out this past year for Notre Dame was Kyle and Kyron. And I mean, obviously now they're both in the league. And so you can look back on a decision whether it was good or not. Who knows?
I'm just thankful that everybody gets to make that decision. You know, like I'm a fan of like,
right.
If you don't want to play, don't play. If you do want to play, play. Like, but you have that decision. You know what I'm saying? I'm pro-choice with it. Absolutely.
What was your mindset? Because I was there at the game, and I mean, stadium went silent, and so us on the sideline, we really didn't know what happened. It was just like, it was an injury. But to you were like Superman.
Yeah.
So we was like, he gonna bounce back. He's gonna be straight. But what was your reaction in that moment? And then maybe even to like some of the background of that story, because I know you kind of had to like, did you have to stay there that night and get looked at, or did you have to like fly back to like Indiana, or how did that thing play out like in that moment for you?
When the injury happened, like you said, like you've never seen me hurt before. You know what I'm saying? So like when it happened, I knew that it was bad. I tried to get up and I couldn't put no pressure on it. And I slapped the ground. I'm just sitting there like Like really, like why, like this time, like right now, being like being a projected top 3 pick. You know what I'm saying? And All American buckets, All award, all of that good stuff is like. And then for me, I want to go out the right way with my guys. You know what I'm saying? Like Jaylon Smith versus Ezekiel Elliott, number 1 running back versus number 1 linebacker, and like. Really, my brother played at Ohio State. So, you know what I'm saying? Just the whole battle of like, wanting to compete, so that was the initial thing. And then it was like my last college game. I ain't never.
Now moving forward in that time, did they give you a period of time, like how long it was going to take, or was that just kind of like up in the air?
It was all up in the air. So before I got surgery, or when we went to the back, luckily my mom and my dad was there. So when I went to the back, they was able to come down and see me and everything. So support system is crucial and critical. Also, who my then agent was going to be, rest in peace, Eugene Parker, who's actually my cousin. He was there because his agent, one of his clients at the time, Larry Fitzgerald, the game was in Arizona. So I was so we were going to link up after the game, was going to go to Larry's house and all of this good stuff. So he ended up coming to the hospital to see my MRI and all of that good stuff. And it was incredible for me to have a support system there because I had never experienced anything like that. But I ended up having to fly on the charter back to Notre Dame. That following day, and really I stayed at Notre Dame for like another 10 days or another 7 days before I got surgery. Luckily, my dog Tifo Tarian Foston, he was still there and was comforting me because he had if you remember his story, he had a injury the first game of the season. So, like our team, we was definitely on some national championship. We really had an opportunity.
And I was in a position of being a little old freshman and being able to go out there and compete with y'all and play with y'all early on until
you was a dog. You got to show the picture. You got to show the picture of me and you when you. I think it was going into your senior year. I came to the camp. Yeah,
amazing camp.
Show that picture.
Yeah.
You was a dog too. We had like on all levels, both experience and youth. So like that was the incredible thing about that. But Tifo was there and helping me walk through it and everything, keeping my mental right. Shit, I ended up getting surgery in Dallas 6 days later. And then 4 months later, the Cowboys drafted me. They had a lot more insight on my injury and things like that. That's if you put in hindsight, everything I'm going through right now, like I done been through worse, Doctor said I'll never play again. So I had to cross that hurdle. And it's really just a blessing to be here, man. You got to learn from everything that God put you through.
For sure. Now, when you even heard the doctor say that, like, what went through your head? Because, like, for my injuries, it was like ACL, and then, but it's like, all right, I knew I could come back from those things, so it was just going to be a matter of time. But to hear the doctor say, "Oh, you may never play again," what's that? What type of weight is that on you?
ACL, because, like you said, there's proven of people coming back, from highs to lows, from long terms to short terms, like Adrian Peterson style, which is the extreme, But and then the previous year, Todd Gurley had an ACL. He had surgery. He came back. He showed his promising healing. He was still drafted in the first round. I think he was maybe 11th overall or something like that. So for me, I'm like, I'm thinking ACL, I'm like, okay, it's bad timing, but I'm going to be straight. But then I got in the back and I couldn't lift my foot up and I didn't know what that meant. They man, some nerve damage. And I see the look on Dr. Radiger. I think that's his name for another Dr. Radigan.
Dr.
Dr.
Radigan?
Radigan. I seen the look on his face,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, come on, man. What that mean? So then they get to talking about how, his nerves supposed to grow back a millimeter a day on God's timing. But it's really God's timing. So from there, it was like, okay, a huge debrief. I had to make sure I processed everything correctly. And then from there, it was the clear eye view journey. It was the focused vision, the determined belief, the earned dreams. I had too many people doubt in me that I couldn't afford to doubt myself. So my complete mind and vision just went into, pouring positive things and energy into everything that I was doing. And, for them.
I definitely love how you spun that too, towards like you use that type of adversity, use that challenge, and you create clear eye view to where now you got some five sunglasses. I still need a pair, by the way. I need a pair of them sunglasses. You turn that into a whole like campaign, to a whole lifestyle, and sort of like from afar, like I followed it to where it was just like I ended up getting hurt as well. And to where it's like, I see you go through this, something even more challenging what I went through, but I see you come back and you could become a starter on the Cowboys, and it's still the same Smoove out there. You hitting the swipe and you doing all those things, you having fun, to where it's like, now it's just like, all right, like now it's like I'm tunnel vision. Like I know like it's going to be a long road for sure, but you got clear eye view, and you got to, when you mentioned that a lot of people were doubting you, that you couldn't afford to doubt yourself. To where same thing with me, towards I had back-to-back injuries. So it was like, I'm already knowing people doubting me. I'm knowing like classmates probably like, oh, he probably don't play or whatever. Yeah. And then it's just something greater within you. And you talk about faith, you talk about God's timing, to where it's like, now 4 months later, like you said, you get to the Cowboys, the America's team. Like, I don't think there's a better position for you. You know what I mean? So talk about just like being there, or getting drafted there, and then kind of like just a recap of your whole time. Man,
I spent 5.5 years in playing with the Cowboys, and it was the best. It was amazing. It was an incredible time. Playing for America's team is real. Playing for the greatest salesman I know, Jerry Jones, and just understanding like his real business principles and practice. He loves that star. He does everything to protect that star. It's just amazing to see and to be a part of it. And he's welcoming and helping you get establish and learn information and things like that too. But so when I got drafted, so I obviously fell out of the first round due to my injury and all of that good stuff. And so I was the third pick of the second round. And I didn't know when I was going to go. I didn't know where I was going to go. I just knew that whoever got me, I was going to make sure that they got their return on their investment. And that was my biggest thing. At the time when I got drafted, my brother was actually playing on the Cowboys. So he had got there the year prior. So I got to play 3 years with my older brother, like that, on our father's favorite team. So that was like a dream come true. But Zeke went first round. I went second round. Dak ended up getting drafted fourth round. The class was crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, even like
they did their thing that year.
Fourth round was Charles Tapper, pass rusher out of Oklahoma. Malik Collins, he plays with the Texans right now. Kayvon Frazier and Anthony Brown. AB wore number 9 at Purdue, so that's my bro. He's still on the Cowboys. He ended up getting his deal. He's the only defensive AB. Now that I'm going, AB's the only defensive player from our draft class that's still there. And he holding it down. So like, man, we had a class that was close. We made sure we were together too. So That was the beautiful thing about it, coming in with a bond of players that can all really play. You know what I'm saying? So that was the beautiful thing about that. Then like sitting out, coming back, having some great guys to learn from, Anthony Hitchens and Sean Lee. You know, Anthony goes to get his paycheck. You know, Sean is battling. He's still balling, but he's battling in and out of injuries, but still adding value from a mental standpoint. And then they end up drafting late, and in 2018, so I came back and played 2017. And, you know, I progressed each and every week. That's what my focus was. I just wanted to get better each and every game. And in 2018, they drafted late in first round. So powerhouse couple. You know, Sean ends up getting hurt late. He goes right in the wheel. And then I'm at the mic position. We create a dynamic duo and go on and have a playoff year. We won. It was a stretch. We went like 7-1 or 8-1 the final, you know, those final games to get us into the playoffs. And then we won the first round, the wild card versus the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, that was an amazing feeling. I got defensive player of the game, actually, the game ball. But just the feeling of that, I can only imagine, like, Benny Sco. He just won. He from Benny Sco. He from Fort Wayne too. That's my dog. Yeah. He just won a Super Bowl. I can only imagine what that feels like, you know. But you know, from there, from there, after we lost in the second round to the Rams, that next week I enrolled in school to finish my degree.
Yeah, I remember. I remember seeing you back on campus. I'm getting people talking about, Jaylon Smith in my class. Like, I'm like, what? And then then I see you walking on campus.
Right there, you know, I told my mom I would go back and finish. You know, so I left early, and I graduated. Man, I graduated, and then that season. So that's 2019 May. I graduate. That season, we didn't make the playoffs, but I made my first Pro Bowl. Had a great year, and you know, that's when you play in the league. Those are one of the things that you want to accomplish. You know, the All Pro and the Pro Bowl, and you know, I was blessed to make my first Pro Bowl. And then 2020, new coaching staff. You're battling a lot of adversity. I think Dak gets hurt like week 3. And there's the reason why these guys make these big bucks. You need a dominant quarterback if you want to have any chance at, you know, making it to that next, you know, to that postseason, and you know, ultimately with efforts to try to win a Super Bowl. That goes down, and you know, we continue to try to stay together and grind it out. We lose a lot of close battles that we may should have won. You know, but for me, I just wanted to continue to produce, and that's something I did. Like I said, that season, 2020 season, I was second league in the league in tackles, and you know, just battling, man, growing. And then last year was, you know, what I thought was going to be the year, you know, for the Cowboys to do it. And then everything transpired, and you know, my brothers, they end up losing in first round to San Fran, and that was a bummer. I really wanted to go. I ended up missing a flight. I was actually going to go to the game and support them.
Yeah. Well, you seem like, obviously you understand the whole business aspect behind it, and also being with a coach or being with an owner like Jerry, who's like you said, he's pretty out front, and he teaches the players and brings the players along on the business side of things. So you kind of knew that, like, this might have been your last season with the Cowboys. And so having that in your mind, you get to the Packers, and then you have a run with the Giants. What were like those two teams and those two situations like? Because that was like mid-season, right? Like coming into the Packers like mid-season, to where Like, I'm sure that's very challenging to a point where it's like you hop on the team and it's like, oh, you expect to play next this weekend.
And it was just about playing catch up. But like, we've been playing since we were 7 years old. So at the end of the day, it's football. You know, coordinators, they like to run their different schemes and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's football. The utmost respect for those guys in that historic franchise. Playing at Lambeau Field was amazing. I went home for 6 weeks and trained. I went back to the basics, trained at home, got to eat some of the old foods that I grew up eating, and, you know, to be able to go over to grandma's house and things like that. You know, just really wanted to take everything back to the basics. Blessed to get an opportunity by the Giants. My final, the last month of last season, played the last 4 games there. They signed me 2 days before we play against the Cowboys, and I'm playing in the game. So a lot of energy, a lot of built up energy, a lot of emotion, but just wanted to go out and show the league that I still got it. I can still play at a high level, and you know, was able to do that. You know, my last month in New York, so blessed for that opportunity. You know, playing in the Big Apple with the Giants, it was a great experience. My first play, I got to hit one of my old teammates, Tony Pollard. I got up a little rowdy. You know, that first game versus the Cowboys, so it was fun. It was fun, man. I take everything, and you know, I embrace it. That's really just who I am. So
yeah. Before we wrap up, I want to ask like about young Smoove. Like, what led you to be this guy today? You know, you talk about going back home and training and eating home cooked meals, and then being, you know, always going back to Fort Wayne in the off season and doing like things like that. Talk to me about young Smoove, maybe where even the swipe came from, where the swag came from, but just talk about that a little bit before we wrap up.
Guy. Very stylistic. I have a creative mind. And I like to flow. I'm a Gemini. I'm an air sign. So, you know, sometimes going wherever the wind takes you is good and okay. Sometimes it's against, you know, the world we live in here in the West. But man, I'm a sponge. I'm a people's person. I love being around people. I do understand the value of giving yourself time for you. The swipe came actually my sophomore year of high school. I created that. And it was it was an adrenaline rush. We were down 8-0. They came out the first play of the game and scored a touchdown, the opening kickoff. And it was their homecoming night. We were playing versus Wayne High School, and second quarter is 8-0. It's 3rd and long. I get a sack. So I didn't really start playing linebacker until college. I fell in love with defense from passing to rusher. I'm really a pass rusher. So I get a sack. Third in the whole, and I just do the swipe out of just adrenaline rush. I get on the sideline and everybody like, Smoove, man, that was hard. That was hard, bro. What that was? That was hard. Next thing you know, we go on like a 3 touchdown straight run. We end up blowing them out on their homecoming. But that was just like the pillar of like, it was an energy booster. It was like it eradicated everything negative in the past that we were doing, and it reshifted. So that I just used the swipe as that from then on. I've been doing it since my sophomore year of high school, and it's about literally letting go of all the negative that happened in the past, and come on, let's turn this thing around. It's an energy booster. It's a get you hype, you know. The swipe. It's like swipe them down, pick them up.
It definitely is.
You know.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I mean, anytime you're on the field, I mean, your presence is felt, whether it's the swag, what you got on, or whether it's just a big playmaking ability. So, definitely, I can't wait to see you get back on the field. I appreciate you taking the time out your day to hop on this episode and support me or support what I'm doing. So, here's another episode of Varsity House Podcast with your host, Shaun Crawford. Our guest, Jaylon Smith, Smoove. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Varsity House Podcast and all of our social media accounts at Varsity House Podcast.
We locked in for life, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.